So in the end, guys, I cannot recommend you go see Cult of Chucky. I was extremely disappointed in this sequel. So in the end, guys, I cannot recommend you go and see Cult of Chucky. I was extremely disappointed as a lifelong Chucky fan in this sequel. So I cannot recommend you go and see Cult of Chucky. Just disappointed me. Sorry. I can't recommend you go and see Cult of Chucky. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. God damn it! I'm not going to recommend you see this movie. You understand me? Quit playing games, Lee. Stop it! Stop it! I'm not going to recommend that you go and see Cult of Chucky, but Halloween 4 is the greatest Halloween sequel of all time. Is that better? Oh, fuck it. Let's talk about Happy Death Day. So Happy Death Day tells the story of a young college student named Tree who finds herself stuck in the same day on a constant loop over and over again while a serial killer is murdering her at the end of each day, and she has to find out who this person is and how to stop them. I'm gonna let you guys know right off the bat, guys, I expected absolutely nothing from this movie. Not only is the whole Groundhog Day setup a movie that we have seen like at least twice a year for the past 15 years. It is constantly recycled and retooled into numerous genres. You got movies like Edge of Tomorrow that did it great. You got movies like Before I Fall that didn't do it so hot. A lot of different genres, a lot of different movies, failed attempts, great attempts. Happy Death Day, the title, the trailer, the look of the killer, everything about this told me this movie was going to suck and be the worst thing to dawn the screens in the month of October. Well, fuck me sideways. This movie was a damn good time. This isn't what I would call one of the 10 best movies of the year, but it is certainly in the top 5 most surprising movies of the year because I enjoyed damn near this entire movie and I expected the exact opposite. Starting with the positives, I think the way that they utilized that Groundhog Day time loop concept with a slasher movie was actually very creative, and the way they executed it was very fresh, very entertaining, and very cool.
Yeah.
You got this character who's just constantly being murdered in different ways. She doesn't understand why, although you as an audience member understand why, because she's a complete bitch for the first 10 minutes of this movie, but I digress. We'll get to that. She keeps going through all these different trials, goes all these different methods of meeting people and treating people nice and trying to go this way instead of this way, and A through Z. She tries so many different ways, keeps getting killed, and it's not only really hilarious, and this movie is much more of a horror comedy than I expected it to be, but you really kind of get invested in the mystery. You get invested in her story, trying to figure out who this killer is, trying to figure out what she did to piss this killer off, trying to figure out what she's gonna have to do to prevent it from happening again. It's a really engaging story.
The way I see it is you have unlimited amount of lives, so you have unlimited opportunities to solve your own murder.
So I'm just supposed to keep dying until I figure out who my killer is? That's your genius plan.
Do you have a better idea?
And one of the reasons that it's really engaging is because the main character, Tree, although she is one of the most despicable, hateful,
You little stupid ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. You little dumb ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you.
the first 10 minutes of this movie, she is the character in horror movies and slashers especially, that you see her and you cannot wait for Leatherface to shove a chainsaw up her twat because she is unbearably bitchy to everybody. Doesn't matter if you're nice to her, if you're her best friend, her worst enemy, some guy that's just trying to help her out because she passed out and trying to make sure she's safe. She treats everybody like shit in the first day that we see and parts of the second and third day. But as her character grows, one of the things that she realizes that she has to change, much like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, is that she has to become a better person. And as she grows into that better person, you really start to like her much more as a character. She's not only charming, she's not only beautiful, but she is somebody that really grows, and you really see how the person that she ends up being is worth dying 1,000 times over because the person she started off with was despicable. And honestly, one of the things that I was expecting to be bad in this, because it's bad in most horror movies that come out with the PG-13 rating around this time of the year, is the side characters were going to be horribly acted and horribly insufferable, and they weren't. They were utilized really well. You got characters like the stereotypical head of the sorority who's really stuck on herself and thinks her shit doesn't stink and she's in charge of everybody. You got the really nice guy who probably is the best guy for her, but she's not going to give him the time of day because he's actually a nice guy, and girls like bad boys for whatever reason that's true. You got characters like best friends that try to tolerate her and try to do nice things for her when she doesn't appreciate any of it. You got roommates who obviously can't stand her but try to be nice to her. There's a lot of really interesting characters that not only keep the movie entertaining, not only give you a lot of interesting and pretty funny dialogue throughout the middle of the movie and the character interactions between Tree and all these side characters, but the movie's really clever with setting up a lot of people that you think could be the killer. Basically every single person you meet throughout the first day that you see, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, because you know the premise of the movie, you're like, yeah, she kind of pissed them off. They could be the killer. Yeah, she fucked them over. They'd probably want to kill her. Yeah, she screwed him over. They're probably going to want to kill her. And the movie's really effective at doing that and keeping that mystery fresh. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't guess who the killer was. I was guessing all day long, and at some point I suspected the person who ended up being the killer, but by the time I made my final decision, used up all my lifelines, phoned a friend, all that good shit, the person that I landed on that I suspected was going to be the killer reveal in the end was not that person. So I have to give the movie kudos that it surprised me and it kept me entertained throughout all the way up to that final reveal.
So you can hear now.
And the movie's really good at kind of surprising you. There's going to be some people that are going to say this movie's predictable, and to a degree that concept is predictable, but there's quite a few times when the movie makes you think that it's about to end and then it doesn't, and it reverts back to the beginning of another day, and you're like, holy shit, what does she got to do now? And that really entertained me. I'm going to use that word a lot in this review, entertain, because this movie was pure entertainment. That really surprised me. How many times they were able to make me convinced that the movie was about to end. I'm grabbing my cup, I'm putting my jacket on, getting ready to stand up, another part of the movie starts. Oh fuck, okay, I'll take all this down, I got 10 more minutes. And that was pretty cool, surprised me. But the movie does have a few flaws. The biggest flaw for me is one that's not going to be a flaw for everybody, but as a hardcore horror fan, as a hardcore slasher fan, I really long to find out what this movie would have been if it had gone for that hard R rating. This is a very solid, hard PG-13 movie. There's barely any gore in it. There's barely any blood in it, really. So for all the times that Tree is getting murdered and slashed in many different ways by this killer, you don't really get to see anything as far as carnage candy. And I feel like that would have honestly added another element of entertainment to this movie. Much like all the death scenes in like the Tomb Raider reboot, where even though you love that character, all the gruesome ways that you get to see her die if you fuck up, it would have been that level of entertainment seeing Tree die in these violent, gory ways over and over and over again. To me, that was a missed opportunity in this movie just so they can throw PG-13 on there and get a little bit more money. Should have been a rated R movie in my opinion. And the only other small negative I have with this is that I feel like the transition from bitchy Tree to likable Tree was a little bit too quick. By the end of the second day, the middle of the third day, she really starts to transition into that good person. I feel like they should have had another 2 or 3 days where she's a constant bitch before she starts to kind of have that bit of a growth with her character. To me, it's stretched just a little bit how fast she went from despicable to somebody that you like. But that's honestly just a small nitpick. And my only other nitpick is going to be hard to really give a lot of detail on without giving spoilers, so I'm going to be very, very minimalistic with how I talk about this. When they eventually do reveal who the killer is, it does stretch your disbelief slightly because of how many times you've seen the masked killer. The physicality of the killer that you see throughout the movie doesn't really match the person that they give the final reveal to in the end, and to me that was something that bugged me slightly as I walked out. It didn't really take away from my entertainment. It's not something that I'm going to be irritated or bugged at if I watch this movie again, but it's something I feel like they could have tricked us a little bit more and used a little bit more creativity and a little bit more attention to detail with that small aspect of this movie, the physicality of the masked killer, that it would have made that ending add up just a little bit more for me. But like I said, again, very small nitpick. So with all that being said, guys, it shocks me to say this, but I recommend the hell out of Happy Death Day. Still could have had a better title, I think. Definitely could have had a better trailer, but all the things that bugged me about the trailer, the look of the killer's mask, the way the acting was, the retread of the Groundhog Day concept, within the context of the movie, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I had fun with it, and it all worked for me for the most part. This is a really enjoyable movie, a really good time if you're a genre fan, if you like this concept, if you like slasher movies. A couple of things they could have done a little bit better, but on its surface, very entertaining movie. One of the best things to come out in October, and honestly in September too. I had a blast with it. So if you're a fan of slasher movies, if you're a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of the Groundhog Day concept, no matter how many times Hollywood beats us over the head with it, I think you're gonna enjoy this movie. So definitely see it in theaters. So what do you guys think of Happy Death Day? Did this surprise you and really entertain you like it did me? Or did you just not get the concept, you were tired of the Groundhog Day thing, and this just ended up being a movie that you're gonna forget and not watch ever again? Put all your thoughts on Happy Death Day down in the comment section below, guys, and we'll talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you wanna check out my social media links, I got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter down in the video description below, as well as the link to my Patreon page, which is a good way to give back to this channel, help support it and help it grow, and get exclusive cool content for patron eyes only. And if you don't wanna become a patron, totally cool. Enjoy the videos here on YouTube as always. And if you want to enjoy some more, you can check out a few more videos by clicking right over here.